Okay, hello, this is Robert Newman. I am a real estate online marketing expert out of California. I am going to be reviewing Sierra Interactive, which is a custom-ish, it's like a custom real estate IDX website provider, and I will explain that. Real estate website providers fall into a few different categories. Usually it's kind of like a very low-end IDX provider that's just basically a real basic search function on top of a real basic design, and they're very inexpensive. Sierra Interactive falls into the middle of these. They have a fairly nice IDX and fairly good designs, but they're not on the highest end of the market. But I was just watching a very in-depth review of a Sierra Interactive website by a gentleman by the name of McGee, and I was preparing to write this article, or to first talk to you about this company, Sierra Interactive. When I went to check his site, though, because he's talking a lot about SEO, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to go check the site. I'm going to check it for SEO value, and this is what I found. So I spend a lot of time, and he in his video is talking over and over again about how he's finding it much easier to work with in WordPress, but his video is 6 months old. And obviously, see, I'll refresh it. Okay, so there's something going on with the site. The site is actually broken. And my challenge with... There's a lot of advantages and disadvantages, to be fair, in terms of owning your own site versus somebody else. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I always end up opting on owning your own site. Because worst case scenario, you can go on to Upwork, which is a contractor site, and you can literally contact somebody in India at whatever, 9 p.m. And by 11 p.m. you can have a fix on your website. This would be fixed. Dealing with a company at a minimum, let's just assume they are the most responsive company in the whole entire world. They're not at work right now. So you send an email in to somebody, that somebody forwards that email to somebody else. My local time, it's 8 p.m. In Kentucky, that's 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. And the chances, I'm not saying that it's not possible, I'm saying it's highly unlikely that anybody is up or awake or going to do any kind of business before the next day. So they get into the office, then they get the email. Most of the time, service requests like this take a minimum of 24 hours to address. When you own your own website, it can be as high or low of a priority as you want. Or if you have a service provider managing the site for you, and it's WordPress, if that service provider doesn't respond to you and you own the site and you have access to the site, you can actually apply the solution yourself. Now granted, most realtors don't have enough knowledge to understand how to get a contractor off Upwork and then get them to fix their website. I get that. But if something happens to Sierra Interactive, I'm not saying it has or it will, but if it did, this realtor is boned. If they don't pick up the phone, if they decide that it's a bad day, if there's a technology problem at their actual office, whatever it is, this guy is really deep in it with no other solutions. Because you can get deep in it too if you own your own WordPress website. The two situations could be similar. However, in one scenario, you have a backup option. He has no backup options. Either Sierra Interactive fixes this, or they don't. And his option to move this website is going to be incredibly difficult because Sierra has ported all of his information into a custom CRM, and he no longer has the option to port, let's say, into another WordPress CRM. And that lack of flexibility, that putting all your eggs in one basket, is the thing that I constantly rail against. It is just a bad idea with technology. And I get this guy and Sierra Interactive, to get into the core of the review, they're a very good company. They have a lot of really cool things in their IDX. And the way that I got turned on to Sierra Interactive is one of my clients, who is a really good blogger, introduced them to me conceptually. And he's a very good real estate technology guy. He's one of the best real estate bloggers in the country. And he has the traffic to prove it. He's cornered his market on search. He beats Zillow and Trulia. He epitomizes everything that I talk about to real estate agents. He's he does, I think it's either 10 or 15% of all of the sales in his area, which is huge. It's a huge number, like 600 transactions per year. So it shows what the power of digital marketing is, and he does all of that. So he's savvy, and he's going with these guys, which is why I looked at them, and they do look great. So let's get into the meat of the review. This is their pricing. There is a one-time setup fee, and I'm sure that this is probably 3 or 4 times as much. Premier sites versus regular sites is merely the design elements. I have others of their sites pulled up, so everything is fine. It just happened to be that one website, and these are some examples of their sites. My guess would be, as with all of my other reviews, in case you haven't watched any, I look at a website provider statistically through the eyes of being an SEO expert. And what I'm looking for is, do they seem to know how to market themselves? If they don't, the chances of them being able to market you are very slim. And one of the things that was spoken about a lot was this, both my client and this Mike McGee guy are talking about how SEO friendly the IDX is. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. So there is some misinformation being transferred by this provider down to the real estate client who buys it and then makes a purchasing decision. And that's the kind of stuff that makes me do reviews and make sure that you get properly educated. So one of those ways that we can tell, like, we can simply say, hey, is IDX, is there any actual SEO value on these sites that are being built? So I've taken literally the highest value site that is connected to this website. So this is a pretty good Ahrefs rank. Okay, the site is being recognized for 2,000 keywords, but the organic traffic is only 265. You won't know this, but this domain authority, there's nothing wrong with the domain authority or the URL authority. That's what these numbers mean up here. And this is a tremendous amount of backlinks, which are like votes for a website. So let's just pretend that all we're talking about is a vote. 16,000 people have voted for this site. That's a lot. Or 16,000 individual pages on the internet have voted for the site. And that's a lot. So let's see what these top pages are. So this Norton Commons is pretty good. Anything position-wise that is 1 through 10 is on the first page. So we start looking at this Ohio River property for sale. That's pretty good. The name of the broker, that's pretty good. Elite Homes, that's the name of the brokerage. That's pretty good. Homes for sale in Louisville, that's pretty good. Open houses in Louisville, Kentucky, that's pretty good. Foreclosure in Louisville, Kentucky, that's pretty good, except they're on the second page. Probably, this is saying they're delivering 9 visitors, 7 visitors, 7 visitors. This is the traffic. So while it does have some good search, and I want to be really clear here, this is the best. This is the best of all the Sierra Interactive sites. So let's look at a second best. That is this one. And there's about 400. So we're looking at the best. One of the things my tool does is it shows me, so each one of these, like everybody who makes websites, puts a signature on the website. Real estate websites by Sierra Interactive. It's a signature on the site. These signatures leave a footprint. The footprint is connected to their parent site, and this tool allows me to see those footprints. So there may be some footprints that this tool isn't picking up, but chances are strong it's picked up most of them. So we know that they have about 400 live websites out there. And I'm looking at some of the top of those live websites. So, and if you're curious to know how did I decide what was top, this is Sierra Interactive, and what I did, so there's backlinks. That's this. That's those footprints I was talking about. And this DR and URL, which is domain rating and URL rating, it's ranked sequentially. These are how many different pages. So these websites have a lot of pages on them. You can see these are the top. And these are the URL ratings, and these are the domain ratings. So you can kind of see where these guys are all at. and I'm picking the top 3. That's who I'm looking at. So here we are in Bend. Again, this one's better. It's got $1,400 for organic traffic coming to the site. That's pretty good. Organic traffic is 775. That's okay. Let's look at what the top pages are. So their homepage is connected to Bend, Oregon Real Estate, which, by the way, is highly related to their domain name. And most of their traffic, over 50%, comes in on that homepage and that domain name strength. And we do have a total of maybe 200 other visitors that come in off a few other pages. That's not bad. This inn thing doesn't matter. Lot for sale, that's their top thing. Northwest Crossing, Bend, Oregon is also a second tier SEO word. So in terms of other websites of this type, I will admit that Sierra Interactive is definitely better than most. It's not great. And if they're selling a big like SEO value concept along with the site itself, they shouldn't be. It's only okay. And a real estate agent could use this site for SEO, I think, but they really have to know their stuff. When my other client gets on this platform and starts to use it, we will really know how friendly it is for SEO or not. And one of those ways we're going to know is that he dominates these numbers. He has something like 30 or 40,000 people coming into his site per month, and he's got a huge domain authority, like 55, 60. So when he moves onto this platform, they will literally have the most experienced SEO, experienced online marketer that they've ever acquired. And if he loses business by moving here, we know for sure that loses traffic, loses domain authority. We know that this platform is not all that SEO friendly, but we'll soon find out. Okay, so here's some interesting things. I did a review Sierra Interactive, not a very good search, but anyway. You see the video that I found right here, so if you want to just do review Sierra Interactive, you see this, there's 5 reviews that are all 5 stars. There's very few reviews, and interestingly enough, I'm number 4. This is my page right here for the same search. So I'm going to say that there are some really super cool functions, and you should look at this to take a look at the IDX. There are some really cool functions that you won't see anywhere else. I would personally be very surprised if conversion, turning these things into names, email, and addresses, is a higher conversion rate than anything else. Why do I say that? Because over the years I've played around with some of the best IDX tools in the world, including ones that the average users like you wouldn't have access to, like Treon and a few others that are so incredibly upscale you have to spend $25,000 just to put them on your website. And here's what I've discovered. Another great one was Spatial Match, which was made by Grant Gould, who is the founder of House Hunt. And it was a lifestyle search. It was super cool. You could pick any element that you wanted, how many churches, how many hospitals, how many everything, and throw it to a neighborhood and then search by homes based on lifestyle criteria. And it was super revolutionary, and real estate agents loved it. But guess who didn't? The end users. And it canceled the project. Spatial Match is no more. You can still look for it online. You can still see my review. You can still see what the service actually did. But when you're talking about people doing searches, they mostly want to see information on homes, and they don't care as much as you think that they do about all these extra features. Now, I do admit there's one feature I think that users will get into, which is the ground level way that this service gets into an area. Like you can get, there's some way that you can kind of, there we go. Now, this isn't the only service that does this. Okay, there are many other IDXs that provide this particular feature. This one just kind of has a slightly better navigation into it. It's just a cleaner landing page, so I do like all of that. What is false, though, is that there is this Mike McGee is saying many times over he feels like this tool is better than a compendium of tools that he could get on WordPress, and that's not even close to being the truth. This was just a real estate agent that got tired of researching plugins and other things and the constant battle of trying to get his website to do what he wanted it to do. So instead he went to a provider that seemingly had all the tools that he wanted. And that's always the trade-off. You trade functionality for independence and the ability to provide solutions for yourself. Most realtors don't want to provide solutions for themselves. They just would really prefer that their solution provider do it all. So one of the big things that Mike McGee points out is this has a real clean, real nice lead management section. Now, none of these sites are getting very many leads, and how do I know that? They're not getting enough traffic to get enough, like a huge amount of leads. So it's just not possible. So what do I mean? Let's be really super specific. Let's just say these guys are getting 500 unique visitors. A great conversion rate is anywhere from 1 to 3%, which means anywhere from 5 to 15 people. The average conversion rate from lead to transaction for a real estate agent is 1 in 9. That's nationwide. The numbers can change a lot, so give me a little bit of leeway there. But so what you're looking at is that maybe this site is doing 1 conversion. Now, Boomtown, by comparison, is going to give you hundreds of leads to manage, and they have a much better CRM and lead management system. This one has a pretty good one, but you're not going to drive that into your website unless you're using PPC, and none of these top companies are. So, what is how do I summarize all that? You have to be real clear about what you want. But a WordPress website backed up by Follow Up Boss would give you all this functionality in terms of lead management and more, plus the independence that I mentioned. The thing is that Mike didn't know about Follow Up Boss. Or if he did, he's used it and there's something he didn't like, but I've never talked to a realtor that didn't like Follow Up Boss, and I mean that literally, never, for a lead management system. So it's the best one on the market, and it's not that expensive. So, and it connects to almost everything. So in other words, you can dump your leads into it from every source, then it manages it for you, does round robins, all the lead dispersion stuff, automatically texts your lead, emails your lead, does all these things that this service doesn't, for sure. So it's a give and take. And most of the time what realtors don't understand is they're just simply lacking the knowledge. And part of the reason they're lacking knowledge is that really great content marketers don't exist, and that's the gap that I'm trying to fill. In other words, what's a great content marketer? Somebody who's constantly providing solutions in terms of information that you yourself haven't discovered, saving you time, energy, and money when you go out to research stuff like this, and saving you potentially tens of thousands of dollars in a year or two of lost time if you end up making a decision that doesn't actually match what your vision was for that decision. This is a really sweet product, and if you're looking for a relative, like a mid-range service that has a great IDX, and you're willing to spend, let's call it $1,000 or $2,000 driving PPC into this platform, it will probably do pretty well for you. You'll never own it. You'll never own the traffic. These guys will not let you take the platform with you, so you're stuck with them if you decide to go with Sierra Interactive. Mike McGee is stuck with these guys. He's going to have a very hard time moving his content back out of this to WordPress, and Sierra Interactive isn't going to volunteer to do it for him, I don't think, unless they really screwed up and they owe him a big makeup, and they care about their social reputation. But nobody's making comments about them, so I don't know how much they care. I still think that this, on the surface, based on everything I see, says that these guys are a high-quality provider. That is why they're on my list of top 20. And if this is the kind of solution that you're looking for, like if you do want an all-inclusive thing with a really nice IDX search package, this is absolutely either the best or one of the best, and it's the best in this price range, for sure. You can't get this nice of an IDX spending 25 grand with Real Estate Webmasters. So in terms of price versus what you get, this is the best in class. And let's just compare it to cars. It's like a mid-range economy vehicle is what this website is, because it lacks profit potential in terms of real estate lead generation. So anyway, I hope you found this all very helpful. Please leave your comments below as usual, or comment on my website or my blog post, and I'll see you on the next review.